going on, everybody? Welcome to a special edition of the Wrestling Junkies podcast. I'm Eric, Mr. Cincinnati Robinson. As always, I am joined by the podcast dad himself, Chris Hoops. Hoops, how are you, my friend?
It's late night, but I have a good reason to be on. We have another great interview with a wrestler. It's my favorite thing to do. Let's get to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Coming to us straight from the National Wrestling Alliance, he will be competing at Paranoia, a signature live event this weekend in Fort Lauderdale, against Talos and Daisy Kill. He is one half of the new Spectacular 2.0, Rush Freeman. Rush, how are you? Thank you so much for joining us.
I am good. Thank you for the intro, and thank you for doing your homework. That is class act.
Always.
You wouldn't believe how many of these shows I go on, and the guys are just like, all right, so you're working for the NWA. What do you do? And I'm like, oh, okay, this is how this is going.
No, not here.
It's the lawyer
we like to be
in me.
professional.
I stay ready for this, yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, but no, we appreciate you coming on to chat with us. I mean, let's just go ahead and dive right on into it. And here at the Wrestling Junkies podcast, we believe that wrestlers are superheroes, and every superhero has an origin story. So, Rush, tell us about your earliest memories of professional wrestling.
Earliest memories of professional wrestling. So I always tell people I started watching at 02 because that's when I really took off. But before that, I was still watching when, The Rock was huge and, The Rock and The Undertaker and Stone Cold and, The Ministry and all that. I would watch that, but I don't really have memory of it. My mom grounded me. I think she thought I was going to turn out to be gay or just beat up my sister. And so, I was raised in the South, people. So anyway, I got ungrounded, I guess, in 2002 and started watching. My earliest memories, it was right before SummerSlam '02, the biggest SummerSlam of all time. And I just remember it was like the go home episode of SmackDown. I don't remember. I have to go back and watch it. I've watched it since, but the end of the show, it was like The Rock comes out and he just beats the hell out of Brock Lesnar and throws him over the ropes. And I'm a little kid and I'm all like, hell yeah, he's gonna beat him up on Sunday. And then Rock lost and went to Hollywood. But that's like my earliest memories of wrestling.
Nice. Yeah, I remember that SummerSlam quite fondly, and I kind of had the same idea, like, oh yeah, Rock's gonna beat this guy. Who's this guy? And then
Oh yeah, of course.
and then Brock happened.
Now we understand wrestling more.
Yeah.
We understand like why things are done a certain way. So
Exactly.
now we understand. Like, yeah,
Yeah,
Brock's a new guy. He ain't gonna lose.
It makes sense now. But then, man, I was in the same boat. Like, oh, okay.
Okay, do you remember the feud he had with Brock had with Undertaker? It was on SmackDown,
Yes.
like maybe a year later. It was like every single month they were having matches, and Undertaker lost every single time. And me as a little kid, I remember Undertaker broke his hand,
Yep.
and they had a Hell in a Cell.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I remember watching that, and we didn't buy the pay-per-views. First off, they were like $50-$60, and no, Mom wasn't buying that. But yeah, I remember watching that. Just I loved the Undertaker, and that's best memories.
Yes. No, I do have memories of, because I was the same way. We didn't really buy most pay-per-views, so I remember going on WWE.com and refreshing to see what happened. And
Yep.
you would always see, oh, Brock beat Taker again. Damn it. But speaking of those guys, how did your favorite wrestlers kind of influence your style in the ring?
It's funny because like I thought they would more. I really loved Benoit, Guerrero, and Jericho, and I always thought I would learn the lion salt. Never learned the lion salt. I thought I'd use a crossface, and never have once slapped on a crossface. I did a sharpshooter one time. Don't think I've ever done anything at Eddie's. So it's kind of weird because I was trained differently. Those are smaller guys that wrestled more intensely, more chain wrestling, technical wrestling. I'm more old school, and I'm bigger. I'm 6'2", barefoot, and then you put on boots, you're 6'4". So I just kind of I wrestle different, but I try to have the aggression, and I'm kind of a softie in real life, you know that, and when I get in the ring, I'm still kind of a softie, but then it kind of hits the switch where then I turn on the aggression, and then that's if I had to say I channel anything from any of them, it'd be like the intensity and anger that Benoit would show at times. That's what I try to put in myself.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Good question.
And I mean, podcast that he knows how to come with them. That's for sure. It's he knows what he's doing. So as we mentioned off the rip, you are with the National Wrestling Alliance, and we're seeing this new spectacular tag team grace our TV screens and laptops and phones every week. what was the impetus for this persona that you developed in your teaming with Spencer Slade?
So, backstory: I've known Spencer since I got started. Less than 10 matches in, I was working on a show that had Spencer on it, so I knew who Spencer was. And Spencer is a phenomenal athlete. I was not. I was not a good high school athlete. I didn't even play college sports. Spencer is an All-American. So, Brady, he up and left. He was done, and he's out of the NWA now. So I've got to figure out what direction I'm going in. And I spoke to Billy, and our consensus was we're going to stay a unit. We're going to keep me and Rolando together. We're going to get another guy, and we're going to be the Spectaculars 2.0. And so going into this, I couldn't think of anybody. Brady was the perfect partner for me. We're both tall, good looking, athletic, built guys. And my initial thought was maybe there's somebody on the ring crew or something. Like maybe we've got somebody who's in the developmental territories that I can pull up. But I'm picky, I'm picky. So I was trying to think, and I thought of Spencer Slade, and straight up, I talked to Billy. I'm like, hey, this is a guy I know, great athlete. Here, look at some of his videos. And Spencer, he's very active on social media. So Billy liked his look. He looks like a killer. So I reached out to Spencer, asked him if he wanted to do anything, and Billy even told him, if he wants to come up here, he's not gonna pay. Billy's not paying for his flight. He wants to see if this kid's invested. And so Spencer bought his own flight, came to the show, killed it, knocked it out of the park. And he hasn't received a contract offer or anything, but he's got a spot. He's there, and I can't think of a better partner to have. Brady was everything I needed in a partner, and Spencer is equally everything I need in a partner, and most likely better.
Yeah, tall and handsome. That's how we started.
Yeah, that's all we got going for us, guys. Like we're not phenomenal athletes.
Yeah,
we're not Kurt Angle.
Yeah.
No. So this next question, I think Eric put in just for me. So for me, it is hard to balance doing the podcast and raising children. I can't imagine what it's like for you to be wrestling and be a parent at the same time. How do you balance that?
Honestly, I've got a very unique story, and so the reason I live in Washington now, I was a traveling construction professional. And I dated a girl early on in my wrestling career, and we had a kid together. And I wasn't where I needed to be as a man to be ready to start a family. I thought I was, and I made a lot of bad decisions, and we didn't work out, and it was my fault. And I played the blame game. It's not my fault. And it took a really long time for me to actually accept like I was the bad person in this. And so I've missed more of my daughter's life than I've been there for. We finally got our parenting plan in order this year, and it took a long time. The court process is very long, but we got our parenting plan in order. I got visitation, and I moved to Washington, and now I get my daughter twice a month. And so I'm not with her mother anymore, but we're sort of forming a better friendship now, so it's kind of good. Yeah, I get to see her twice a month, first weekend and third weekend. I can't take bookings. Ironically, NWA has a first weekend of the month booking coming up, and it's one of those, do I need to go or not? Because I don't need to go for some battle royal or something, but unless it's like a championship battle royal or something, family's got to come first. And so Eric, you'll know that from your life. You got twins, he said.
Yes, I have twins.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
Oh, you do. Okay, sorry. So you having twins, it's you know how it is. You sacrifice everything, and so a lot of selfish time. And in that selfish time, I developed my character. I developed who I was, a man and a wrestler. But at the end of the day, I could change everything and have spent the 18 months that I was away or so, however long it was. If I could change that and make it to where I was present every single day, I'd do that for sure.
Yeah. How does she feel about Dad wrestling?
She doesn't know. She's only 3, and so she doesn't. Yeah, she doesn't know. But we went to the trampoline park over the weekend, and I'll do like rolls. In wrestling, you learn rolls. It's the first thing you learn. So I'll get out there and do rolls with her and stuff, and I try to teach her how to roll. And I don't ever want her to become a wrestler. If she ever wanted to because she liked it or something, that's her thing. But I'd rather her become a doctor or something. So
Yes.
yeah, yeah. She
Well,
likes
it's
how
good
playful I am,
that
though.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's good. It seems like you've struck the appropriate balance, and it seems like everything kind of works out as far as being able to take bookings and kind of keep everything consistent and properly allocating your time. I mean, is that something you would say was a driving factor in you signing with NWA, or take us through the decision to go with that promotion?
NWA, it's funny because like when I started training in 2019, technically I started training in 2016, but that was with local yokels and I didn't have any professional training. When I went to a real school, I got trained, and that real school happened to have the contract to do the ring crew with NWA. At the time, it was right when NWA was starting, and I had no idea what it was, and I wasn't going to miss work to go to some startup promotion and go help out for no money. And so I missed the very first season, and then I watched it all on YouTube, and I was like, "This is amazing! I want to be part of this." And so I reached out to Crimson, who owned that promotion, the school, and he was like, "Yeah, you can work the ring crew." And I just started going every single taping, working ring crew. And anybody who's listening, who's a wrestler, aspiring wrestler, that's how you do it. I got plugged in. I had a truck, and still do, and I could, drive to Lowe's. I could go pick up a table. I could go pick up a ladder. I can go buy chairs. I can go to Sam's Club and buy all the water and stuff. So I had to help with the ring crew. But then when all the main day work was going on, I get to run around town and do stuff while they're stressing about taping the ropes and all the little stuff. I was kind of the runner and stuff. And also in that, I got to go to the convenience stores, buy everybody Bang Energy. I got to go buy Trevor Murdoch his Grizzly Wintergreen Long Cut. Same with Chris Masters. And so you build relationships with these guys, and it's just I didn't have anywhere else I wanted to be. WWE wasn't calling me. I'd sent them emails and applied, but I don't think the application does anything. I trained at Nightmare Factory, and I knew I wasn't ready for mainstream TV. I was 24 matches in when I got my first match with NWA, and so just coming back time and time again, showing my work ethic. That's what got me the job. I was present. I was there working, and I had a good attitude about everything I did. And so anybody who ever wants to get into the NWA, maybe some of these other promotions, show up, get on ring crew, help out, reach out to them. You may not get any answers back, but you don't get anywhere if you don't try.
It's kind of the mentality we've taken with this podcast a little bit.
Exactly. Like your first podcast, I guarantee, had like 20 views. Like you wasted an hour of your life for 20 views. Yeah.
I was gonna say, if that, I think it was just me and him that watched it.
I put a video on YouTube not too long ago, and it was like spent all day editing this thing. It was like my first ever vlog, and I was like, "You guys want me to keep doing this?" Got like 150 views, and I'm like, "This took forever for that." I got like 3 likes. Like, you kidding me?
Yep, we've been there. We have been there for sure.
But you got to keep
talked
going.
About it. Yeah, no, and that's that grind that you were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Starting from the bottom and kind of, evolving through what we do.
Yeah.
You talked about working in, and you weren't ready for like the mainstream, quote unquote. So NWA works in the studio compared to a, different arenas or venues kind of stuff. Can you give me one advantage of working in the studio and then one disadvantage?
It is very call timeout during a match if something goes wrong. I know that like during dark, I had heard that like if they messed up during dark, they would just edit it and go. And we'll edit and go if there's like something, there's a flubber or something. But we tape and everything goes through. It's good. With it being taped, the main advantage, you can do family life. Like I've got a taping with NWA this weekend. That'll be January 13th, and then I've got March 2nd. Like AEW guys are every single week going to town. WWE guys every single week town to town. I've always wanted that lifestyle, but at the same time, as a father, can you imagine every single week being away? Like it's NWA is the perfect one. If I can just get them to be a little more financially incoming to where we all get a little bit of a pay raise, that way I don't have to work a regular shoot job, then yeah, that'd be just perfect.
Awesome.
So as we kind of look at NWA's tag team division, the role of the new Spectaculars, what is it in your mind? I know you've talked a little bit about Spencer Slade's freak athleticism, but what other intangibles would you say make you guys stand out amongst the tag team ranks in the NWA?
Well, we do have some really good tag teams in there. some guys that had nothing going on and got put together. And I don't mean that in a negative way. They're some of my favorite people in the world, but they should have been pushed to single stars, and they for some reason weren't. And so they were like, let's put these guys together. They look great. They will be great. But that's one advantage and disadvantage. So the Spectaculars, we are a team. We are a unit. There's other teams like the Immortals. Do you know who the Immortals are? It's Odinson and Jordan Clearwater. Is that who it was? No, it wasn't Clearwater. It's Kratos. Anyway, two great guys. But they are two great singles guys that are just thrown together. I'm looking for a cohesive unit, a team. Knox and Murdoch, two great guys, two great single stars thrown together, and all of these guys are gonna execute and kill it. But the team mentality is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the brotherhood, and that's what we have that stands out. There's a couple other teams like that with Outrunners, which they're not signed with us, but they are actively with us all the time. We have other teams that are just very good that are there as a cohesive unit. The Country Gentlemen being one. They're actual brothers. So not really take away from it. Okay. We're very tag team heavy in the NWA.
And we've established on this podcast that we love tag team wrestling. When tag team wrestling is great, I don't think there's much better than it. So you guys are recruiting members through video submissions. How did that come about?
So with Brady leaving, it was a loser leaves NWA match. I was victorious. Matt Cardona helped, but I was victorious. And are you guys familiar with that?
Yes.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. So anyway, the recruiting process. I needed to find a new partner, so I thought, what better way to do this than to hold a star search? That's right up who I am. So me and Rolando held a star search to bring in somebody new, and we find submissions from people from OVW and all over the country, guys in Washington, Florida, and Carolinas. Like, I had guys all over the country submitting this, and it was just so cool. I felt really engaged with other wrestlers all around the country. And it also, it helped my growing as well. Like, I get to see all these new guys. People see who we are, me and Rolando, and they, it helps us if we ever want to take bookings around the country, because we're those annoying guys that were recruiting everybody. So, Billy had kind of mentioned something like we need to have some sort of like a star search kind of thing. And I was like, I have the perfect idea. And have you guys ever seen Ready to Rumble?
Yes.
You remember when they're like in town recruiting all those local yokels? And yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. Like, bring a little class here, maybe bring it on the cheerleaders with Ready to Rumble, with Mix in the middle somewhere. That's exactly what I wanted.
Man, that might be a golden idea for a movie. So you might want to hold on to that one.
Also, Chelsea Green did something like that. Her partner, I can't remember who her partner was. It was the MMA girl. After she had got dropped, Chelsea was doing Chelsea's new tag team partner, the next women's champ. And I was actually going to submit one of those as well, but I never ended up doing it.
Oh man, that's awesome. And that, you've had no shortage of moments in NWA, and there's one I kind of want to go back and talk about in particular and ask about kind of how this came to be. Sam Shaw, aka Dexter,
I knew it was going to be that.
Came back, gave you an ass whooping, and then goes back to WWE.
That's exactly what happened. Yeah. So that was the Always Ready pay-per-view. Matt Cardona was the champ. It was his own pay-per-view. He ended up relinquishing his title that night. But Sam Shaw was there. I didn't know what I was doing. There's been many shows I show up and it's like, all right, what do we got? And that was one of them. I had no idea what it was. I'd missed my flight from Pittsburgh. I told you I was in Youngstown. I missed my flight from Pittsburgh. I had to drive all the way to Knoxville, like 8 hours, and I made the show. And they tell me, all right, you're working with Sam Shaw. And I said, who's that? They were like, that's Dexter Loomis. And I was like, Dexter Loomis, okay. And so they're like, all right, this is what we need. And so they told me what they needed, and I went out there and did it. And I went. If you haven't seen them, but they're trying to get him to interview. Dexter Loomis does not talk. Sam Shaw does not talk. I came out and I told him, oh my God, I'm your biggest fan. I remember watching you way back at NWA 70 in Nashville. I was not at NWA 70 in Nashville behind the scenes. And so shake his hand, won't shake my hand. Finally, Sal Renaro comes out, gets involved, and starts laying boots and all that, and there's wrestling happened. So it was a great night. It was probably one of my favorite top 3 favorite wrestling memories of all time.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah. And honestly, Dexter's a great guy.
Oh, so he did talk to you.
I just heard around the grapevine. Honest to God, truth. He doesn't talk. He's a quiet man. But I went into the restroom and I had to pee. Ironically, he's right there, and I'm peeing right next to him. I'm like, so, this girl named Kate. You follow her on Instagram. I follow her, and she follows me. Like, you guys friends? And he was like, yeah, it's my old neighbor. And so that's how I got him to talk.
That's awesome. What a story. Wrestling's the best.
It is. You can't make the shit up.
You can't. No, you can't. What would you say the biggest misconception that people have about the NWA or Billy Corrigan in general?
One thing that gets really annoying is when people say, all right, so you're in NWA, so it's basically the independents. All right, when are you going to get to the professional level? And I'm like, dude, it's a difference in money and the channel you're on, but I'm in the professional leagues. Okay. So I'm playing for the Browns right now. I'm not playing for the Patriots. So, or whoever the team is of the year, but, that's a big misconception I get. A lot of people think it's a throwback show. It started as a throwback show. When I started watching it, it was a throwback. You go out and have a promo, then you go wrestle, and then you have another promo to talk about. You just wrestled. And now it's a modern show. Like, it's really advanced now. They want hard hitting. They want not stupid, not botched stuff. They want hard hitting, strong wrestling. They also want good entertainment. Some funny stuff, some drama. It's people don't give it a chance. People don't watch it. People who are listening to the show right now probably haven't watched the show. It's an organic growth and it's taking time, but the numbers are going up. And I mean, all publicity is good publicity in my opinion. So Jim Cornette's issue that happened is you remember the Jim Cornette issue that happened? Yeah, yes. The Trevor Murdoch and the bucket of chicken. Yeah, that and then. Yes. What was the other one? Oh, the infamous cocaine spot at Sal Wynn. I mean,
yes,
we all still got jobs. We still got our contract, and everybody's talking about NWA because it had cocaine on the show. So, was it a good idea, bad idea? I don't know, but people are talking about us. That's all that matters.
I remember the cocaine thing because we talked about it, and I think both of us said was like, "What's the big deal?" I mean, it's a wrestling
honestly,
show.
Yeah. Like, I've seen a lot more raunchy stuff on a wrestling show.
Right?
Yeah, we all have. And ironically, my match was immediately after that. So more eyes on me if they keep watching the program.
Exactly. Everybody's tuning in for the cocaine and they see Rush Freeman.
Yep.
Was there a change in the crowd from, I can't remember the setup as to whether they had a monitor where you could kind of see the perch up there, but did you notice anything as far as change in the crowd as you come out after that moment, or was it just business as usual?
Business as usual. That's kind of how these things happen. It's just another thing to us, but then it blows up and you're like, really? The crowd was hot. That was Cleveland. And, that was, I had friends from Youngstown and friends from the area that had came up, and my old boss got to come up. It was cool. And, yeah, so that was probably my favorite pay-per-view I've been a part of, just for the simple fact it was in Cleveland.
Oh man,
that
hurts, Mr. Cincinnati, but
it'll be fine. It's okay. It's okay.
I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan, so I don't care.
Oh no,
he's an Eagles fan. So.
I'm an Eagles fan.
You're batting 1,000 today, bud.
Yeah. I got second place in my fantasy football league this year, so I didn't have any of my Eagles guys this year, so that's why I got second instead of first.
See, there you go.
Hey, that's fair. That's fair. But as we kind of wind things down here, again, you've got NWA Paranoia coming up this weekend. You're taking on Talos and Daisy Kill. Any final words for them?
Yeah. I've got the most brilliant plan. I've written this song and I'm going to play it for Daisy Kill. I just got to actually play it and record it and post it. And so got this great promo planned out. I was trying to think of like how The Rock used to come out and do his little song promos. First off, Daisy Kill is a phenomenal musician. I don't know how to play anything. Like, I played the saxophone in like 8th grade. And so I don't know what the hell I'm doing, but I have a guitar. So I'm going to put something together for him.
awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So
Spencer cannot wait.
We have a ongoing debate that we like to ask the wrestlers that come on the show. Growing up, and like you said, you grew up in the era where you had The Undertaker, you had Shawn Michaels. And when you think of WrestleMania and who Mr. WrestleMania is it The Undertaker or is it Shawn Michaels?
The title of Mr. WrestleMania always just goes to Shawn Michaels, but when I think of WrestleMania prior to COVID, I think of The Undertaker. I think of the streak.
Thank you for proving my point again.
Yeah,
because yes, when you think of WrestleMania, you think of The Undertaker.
Yeah, like Shawn Michaels. Like if it just top of my head, I remember he faced Jericho. I remember he faced Cena. He was in the triple threat with Benoit and Triple H. Yeah, those are like the main ones I remember for him. But yeah, Undertaker, we remember those. Like,
yep.
Yeah,
hey,
I'm gonna
you
get
hear
married
that,
for
Mr.
this.
Cincinnati? You hear that?
Hey, this is we're just keeping a tally. That's all. There's
tally
no
another
wrong
one on
answer.
my side.
Okay, that's fair. You're doing some catching up the last time I recall, but that's
I think it's 3-3
neither here
now.
nor there. I don't. Yeah, I'll do the math. Okay. And we'll make sure.
Right.
But yeah. So Rosh, we like to give towards the end of these interviews, we would like our guests to point out anybody that should be on our radar as far as who we should be keeping our eye on that's up and coming right now. Are there any names that you can think of that you want to shout out that we should be paying attention to right now?
Absolutely. So with us having our current roster and our new territories going on, we got a huge, extensive list of names. I can tell you some of my favorites, some of the biggest gentlemen I've worked with, some of the worst people I've worked with. The absolute worst is AJ Kazanda. He's just the biggest piece of. I'm just kidding. I actually like AJ. He's a great guy. Country gentleman, AJ Kazanda. Him and I didn't come up together or anything. We just started working together, and he's a great guy. He's well trained. He went to Dr. Tom school. I have nothing but good things to say about AJ. We give each other shit all the time, but that's what wrestling is. AJ's a great guy. Devin Graves, another great one. I came up with him. Great, best friend in wrestling. Magic Jake Dumas, Cody James, the Magic Inc. and NWA, they're a tag team. Those guys are some of my better friends. Like me and Jake are extremely close. We went on a cruise together last year.
Nice.
I could go on for days. Tom Latimer, he was my best trainer, and so was QT Marshall. Both of those, QT. Tom's still making his way, but he's making it.
Nice. Well, Rush, we appreciate you joining us. Where can everybody find you on social media?
I am on Instagram at The Rush Freeman. I am on Twitter at The Freak Freeman, and I'm on YouTube. Just search Rush Freeman and you'll find me somewhere.
Perfect.
Yeah. And then also, while you're following me, follow these guys. They're on YouTube. Subscribe. Did you know 90% of people do not subscribe to the videos they see on YouTube? So, subscribe and help these people grow. Share it. One thing I do is when I like something, I send it to my friends, and I have a family chat group room and all this stuff, and I'll send it to them. And so just spam this shit out. We're trying to get famous here, so help us out.
That's right. That's our message to everybody. Just tell one person.
Yep, we got kids.
Exactly. I got bills to pay. I got colleges to pay for.
Yeah, Mr. Living it up over here. He doesn't know the struggles.
No, he does not. Trust me. No, he does not.
We live very different lives.
we had to work around the bedtime schedule tonight. So
yeah, well, wait till you do a good job and you don't have to pay the lawyer. So I'll say that. That's when you need even more money.
Well, the best part is he's the lawyer. So
I get that. Yeah, that's I've been there. I've been there. No judgment here. It's hey. I get it, but
I like Eric more immediately.
I love my wife. You're the greatest thing ever. Let me say that before I get in trouble again.
Hey, you know what? Okay, yeah, that one was kind of my fault, but
yeah.
All along again, I meant well. It was just a funny moment. Anyway, Rush, thank you so much for joining us. Remember, everybody, NWA Paranoia is coming this weekend. You can check out NWA on CW. Rush, thank you so much for joining us. Come back anytime. We greatly appreciate having you, and best of luck this weekend.
Thank you very much. You guys have a great one, and thank you for having me on.
Thank you.
All ours. For Rush Freeman, for the podcast that I'm Mr. Cincinnati, this has been a special edition of the Wrestling Junkies podcast. We'll talk to you guys soon.